Welcome to JoyNews Prime. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson. In the next 30 minutes, Ghana records tremendous improvement in fish stock following compliance to the 2022 close season. That's a revelation by the Fisheries Minister as she officially closes the sea to artisanal fish folks and industrial trawlers to signify the commencement of the 2023 closed season. Also, Krasi Hen resolves not to entertain any politician in his palace anymore after selling his cocoa farm to fix community roads, following several disappointments by them. In business, Ghana makes a case to host Africa's Cocoa Exchange. We'll hear from the Cocoa Board CEO on the prospects should the country secure the bid. And later in world news, at least 51 people have been killed in western Kenya after a truck lost control at a busy road junction and plowed into other vehicles and businesses. Stay with us. We'll be right back with details. The Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Ministry has closed the sea to artisanal and industrial trawl fleet for this year. The closed season is a fisheries management measure aimed at helping to replenish Ghana's depleting fish stock. At a ceremony in Elmina to close the sea sector, Minister Mavis Hawakumsi revealed that studies have shown that after the closed season in previous years, there was an improvement in the catch of fish.
Appeal to fishers to desist from fishing and comply with the closure. On this note, I declare the season closed for artisanal canoes and inshore vessels from the 1st to 31st of July 2023 and for the trawl vessels on the 1st of July to 31st of August 2023.
In the declaration to close the sea at Elmina, the declaration to close the sea signals the shutdown of the sea for both artisanal fishers and the industrial fishing vessels. The minister stated that the advantages of closing the sea far outweigh the disadvantages and urged the fishers to support the fisheries management measure born out of science.
We all attest to the fact that the marine subsector has experienced decline in fish stock level and size due to activities of over-exploitation and illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing, among others. The livelihoods of the over 3 million people and 187 coastal fishing communities that depend on the fisheries resources are being threatened by depletion or decline of fish stocks. Accordingly, the Ministry and the Fisheries Commission, since 2016, have been implementing the closed fishing season as a fish stock recovery and replenishing the strategy in accordance with Section 84 of the Fisheries Act 2002. The continuous closure of the sea for the past 7 years for the industrial fleet and 4 years for the artisanal and inshore fleets has shown significant positive impact towards fish stock recovery. For instance, the results of biological survey conducted in 2022 indicates that canoe landings were higher after the closure period than before the closure.
She indicated that she won't hesitate to crack the whip on any fisher or groups of fishers that flout the measure put in place after months of stakeholder consultations.
Government is fully aware of the short-term economic impact of the closed fishing season on fishers. The ministry will therefore continue to provide relief items in the form of rice and cooking oil to support fishers and fish processors during the closure period. I wish to inform you that the various mandated enforcement authorities will commence full surveillance and enforcement activities to ensure compliance to the closed fishing season, and offenders will be prosecuted accordingly.
President of the Ghana Industrial Trawlers Association, Stephen Ajokache, called on the ministry to check the EMS that was recently installed. Mr. Ajokache also called on other stakeholders. Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold-Hassan expressed government commitment to improving the lives of the people who dwell on the ocean. She praised the fishers for agreeing to be part of what she calls a practice that would rejuvenate the fishery stock. Paramount Chief of Edna, Nana Kojo-Kondua, appealed to the ministry to double-check on the issue of illegal transshipment of fish at sea. According to him, the issue of cycle is not yet over. This year happens to be the year both Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire are embarking on a joint close season. It is expected that other countries within the West African sub-region will join in subsequent closure of the sea for the collective gains of the shared resource. Richard Kwejo-Nyako, JoyNews, Almina.
Ghanaian authorities in Saudi Arabia are worried about the rising number of Muslims who embark on Hajj pilgrimage without the requisite permit. They say the pilgrims, most of whom are aged, are faced with challenges after being left to their fate by agents who issue them with unauthorized visas for the pilgrimage. Head of accommodations for Ghanaian pilgrims in Medina, Dr. Adam Yellowman, cautions would-be pilgrims to be mindful of paying money to unauthorized persons to process their documents. Anas Sabit reports.
In the pursuit of raising awareness among inbound Muslim pilgrims, the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah launched a new campaign dubbed Be Aware, No Hajj Without a Visa, which aims at alerting non-Saudi pilgrims to the mandatory need of obtaining the official permits that will allow them to perform Hajj. This is because a sizable number of pilgrims from all over the world, including Ghana, try several means of breaking this protocol through several foul means, including the use of tourism, business and visiting visas for the performance of the Hajj pilgrimage, a move that is criminal and punishable by Saudi laws. This group, who pay less than what pilgrims pay through the Ghana Hajj Board, are mostly left to their fates by these agents after flying them to Saudi Arabia a few weeks to the official Hajj period. Some of these people, particularly the aged, go through a lot of difficulties as they join the millions of pilgrims to perform this religious obligation without the needed documentations. 65-year-old Bela Hussein is from Idra in the Ashanti region. She got lost and is unable to trace her group after walking several hours from Muzdalifah to Jamarat. She's currently complaining of heartaches and needs immediate medical care. She says, I'm Bela Ofisili. We are from Idra Zongo near the Central Mosque. She says, I am currently experiencing heart pains after walking around since 4 a.m. The Ghanaian authorities here, after interrogating her, noticed that even though she's from Ghana, the tag on her hand indicates that she's from Nigeria. Liman Suleimana Fuseni is a member of Ghana's security in Saudi Arabia.
It was around 3:30. They found this our mother and brought her here. But for us to go through her paper on her hand, we realized she didn't even come through Hajj Board. The document on her hand is saying Nigeria. So we are going there to find out and see if we can see any of her relatives.
The chief of Krasa near Adrisu in the Ashanti region, Nana Eduwahin, has sold his cocoa farm to construct their community road. The move was triggered by frustration born out of the unfulfilled promises of politicians to him and his people. Enraged by the disappointments, Nana Eduwahin says he will no longer entertain any politician in his palace. Mahmoud Mohammed Minuruddin has more.
They can come here, but my palace, I won't receive them there, because when they come, they repeat the same thing that they come, they repeat it. So I don't need them. I don't need them. They can come to the town and do their their campaign. But my house, no. Because when you come to my house, the same thing you are coming to repeat. I will come and do this. I will come and do this. But you won't come, so I don't need you in my house. That's it.
After years of waiting for government's intervention, Chief of Kurasi Nana Edubuahin says he has decided to sell his cocoa farm to raise funds to construct the community road.
I called on the MP and the MC. They didn't mind me, so I have to do it. I have to sell my cocoa farm to do the work, because we can't stay here with that car coming to Kurasi here.
Professor Ernest Uwazi of California State University, Sacramento, has stressed on the need for proper training for mediators under the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program. According to him, effective training is critical towards building public confidence and trust in the work they do. Professor Ernest Uwazi was speaking to Samson Ladianyani on the law program under the topic Promoting ADR for All.
Training definitely is a critical part of that. Just like judges and lawyers go through training, we also require and expect that mediators go through the appropriate training. To really do an effective job of being a mediator, a basic training of about 40 hours with a series of continuing education in different aspects of mediation becomes quite critical. So if you're able to bring somebody who can help the parties to communicate, there is this what we call mediation magic or moment. When parties are coming into the room, they thought they would never be even able to sit in the same room, not even talk about agreeing on anything. But you go through that process after about an hour or 2 or 3, depending on who the mediator and the circumstances of the case may be, they're shaking hands or exchanging hugs and so on and so forth. So I think the training it speaks to the importance of a good training and continuous training in terms of the mediator. And at the end of the day, is the ability of that mediator to skillfully be able to bring in the parties that they are working with to gain their confidence and trust that, yes, next time you can go to that person because they were able to help me resolve my issues.
Meanwhile, the chairperson of GACMA Interim Management Committee, Georgette Francois, is urging disputants to take advantage of the ADR system due to its cost-effective and confidential nature of conflict resolution.
ADR is confidential. The discussion between the parties and the mediator stays within the mediation process in the mediation room, and the parties are not even allowed to go out and tell maybe their constituents what happened during the mediation process. The only thing they can say is the matter was settled. These are the terms of settlement. ADR is less expensive than litigation, and that, I say, is also a plus, especially in this time of recession. Those of us in private practice realize that our clients are not able to pay our fees as we demand.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. I'm MC Thompson. We'll be right back after this break. In business, Ghana is making a case to host the 3rd international market for cocoa trading, the African Cocoa Exchange. This is due to the contribution of the country to the cocoa industry on the continent and across the globe. Now, Ghana is competing with Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire for the hosting of this platform, which will be the first in Africa to be used for the trading of cocoa.
An African Cocoa Exchange based in Africa, and is between Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. One of these countries is going to host. And if you are hosting an exchange commodity, you know the benefits that accrue in terms of pricing, in terms of the entire value chain progress, because it's not just going to be the hedging and then the speculation and then the exchange of fiscal as well as futures, but it's also going to do with warehousing and then the movement of these commodities, the fiscal movement of these commodities within the host country. It also have to do with financing. So it's going to raise a lot of funds into the host country for the trading to go on. And I want to believe that if Ghana is lucky to have this platform, I want to assure you that it will greatly ginger our economy locally and also create a lot of businesses and jobs for our country.
You heard Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahen Adu. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with World Business. We go to world news now. At least 51 people have been killed in western Kenya after a truck lost control at a busy road junction and plowed into other vehicles and businesses. The accident took place on Friday evening on the highway between the towns of Kericho and Nakuru. According to local police, the truck lost control and rammed into 8 vehicles, several motorcycles, people who were by the roadside, vendors, and other people who were on other businesses. We'll take you live to Nairobi to speak to Felix Maringa. Felix, where exactly did this incident happen?
Good evening. So the accident took place at a place known as Londiani. Londiani is in between Nakuru and Kericho County, which is in Kenya's Rift Valley. So that's where the accident took place on Friday evening at about 7 p.m. Police have so far confirmed 52 people dead, 32 people sustained injuries and were rushed to the nearby hospitals. They're still receiving medical care.
So, can you hear me, Felix? Looks like the connection to Felix is a bit unstable, but if you can hear me, what is the current situation? We hear the President William Ruto has been sending his condolences to bereaved families. Do we know if the government will be compensating victims?
Well, the president and other leaders have so far sent their condolences to families. The government will not be compensating the victims, but some of the leaders have individually pledged to support the affected families with burial preparations and others who are in hospital with hospital bills. So that is what has been confirmed so far, the leaders' individuals' contribution, but not government's contribution on this particular one.
Well, we know about the death toll. You just said 52 people have died, but what about the injured? How are they faring?
Well, the 32 people who sustained injuries are still recuperating in the hospitals. They've been receiving medical treatment. Some of them who had sustained very major injuries were actually rushed to the major referral hospitals. The others who had minor injuries were treated and discharged, so they're actually recuperating at home. But yeah, there's no news yet about the 32, but medical workers are actually doing their very best to ensure that those who sustain injuries are actually out of danger.
Before you go, what's the state of investigation so far into the incident?
Well, the Minister for Transport in the country has said that the government will actually investigate the cause for the accident, why the truck actually ended up developing mechanical challenges, whether it had mechanical challenges and the police officers maybe overlooked, or it was just a case of a classical accident. So the government has said it will investigate. Of course, it was on Friday night, so during the weekend, most of the government offices are usually not open. So mostly the investigations will start as soon as Monday morning, and that is when we will know the state of the investigations.
Well, Felix, does this occur often, or this is a major accident that has occurred in Kenya?
Well, so far this year, this is one of the major accidents. The other accidents normally take place. 2 or 3 people succumb to the accidents. Several people are injured, but this was huge. Last year, the whole of last year, just about 20,000 people actually lost their lives due to the road accidents. But this happening on one evening, this was huge, and it was huge both for the people in Kericho County, which is in the outskirts of the major cities, and it's one of the huge accidents that have actually taken place in the recent past. Most of the other accidents, normally it's just about 2, max 5 people who end up dying, but this one was huge, even according to the government officers, who say that we should not get to see such an accident reoccur even in the days to come.
Very well. Thank you very much, Felix Maringa, who is a Kenyan journalist, giving us update on the incidents that happened there, with 52 lives lost and about 32 people receiving treatment for various degrees of injuries. And that's all for the news here on Joy News Prime. I'm Amesi Nyamiche Thompson. There's more news on my joyonline.com. Thanks for your company.